Yo, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's up? What's going on? What's good, everybody? That's right. It's time for the midweek report here for January 22nd, 2025. And we're going to start things off here with our special guest. We've had this trainer on live before, and we are very thankful that he could join us here once again. He has been very busy over the past few weeks getting fighters prepared for bouts coming up real soon. And he recently took part in a weekend event at West Point that we're going to be talking about here in a little bit. I welcome Coach Bob Santos to the Midweek Report. What's going on?
Everything's going great now that we're here with you, my man.
Hey, great. Now, Coach, I see that you'll have a few fighters here that'll be involved coming up on next Saturday, February 1st, at the T-Mobile Arena. Let's start with who you'll be in the corner with there. You got Jeison Rosario and I think John Easter there, of course, the Candyman.
Handyman.
Right? How busy has it been there over in your camp getting those fighters ready?
It's been a challenge to say the least, but this isn't per se my first rodeo. I've learned from some of the greats how to manage things, and I always say you can't buy experience, but you're going to pay for it one way or the other. So we're going to be in there with David Morrell. We're going to have John the Candyman Easter, and we're going to have Banana Rosario. So we're going to have a full night to say the least.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I'm definitely looking forward to it there coming up next Saturday. Now, with Rosario, of course, him being a former unified world champion, I had his last bout on the Pro Box TV thing there against Jared Hurd in Plant City, right? And I know he's eager to prove himself against Jeison Rosario Jr. on February 1st. Now, what was something there that in the bout that he had last August that he could take with him into next Saturday's bout?
Well, the biggest thing is ring rust. He was almost out of the ring for 2 years. It's a long time to be out of the ring. You know that, and I know that. It's been a real tough process. Obviously, he had the 4 losses. He's been stopped 3 times, and as well as I do, it's very hard to bring a guy back, not just from a loss, but from a stoppage loss, psychologically, physically. It's a lot. When you're talking 2 times, 3 times. It's not insurmountable, but it's very, very difficult to say the least. But you know what? He came back. He had that draw with Hurd. I thought we edged him out, but it was a close fight. We live with what the judges decided. It was a close fight. I thought we edged him out towards the end, but it was a draw. It is what it is, but it parlayed him to get the opportunity to be in the situation he is in now. And so, he got 10 good rounds in. He got some ring rust in. And now we're going up against a young, hungry lion who's trying to prove that he's the absolute best in and around 54 and 60. And so we got a challenge ahead of us. But I think Jason's going to be up to the challenge. I think a lot of people think we're not going to go probably past 5 or 6 rounds. I know Ramos has told everybody he's going to go out there and he's just going to stop us. But, at the end of the day, that's why they make the fights. Everybody could say this, they could say that, and on paper it may be this, but the reality of it is that's why you make the fights.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I did talk with Jeison Ramos Jr. Was like the previous weekend. One of the things that he brought up was like he observed that fight that Rosario had against Jared Hurd, and he felt like that Rosario wasn't the same like Rosario in a sense, but he said that he's looking for the version of Jeison Rosario that won the title over Julian J. Rock Williams. What does it mean for you that Ramos is looking at this fight as a big challenge there coming up February 1st?
Well, 2 things here. As a coach or as a fighter, you want to be competitive. You want to go against the absolute best. If we can turn the tide and get Jeison Rosario back to the guy that beat J-Rock back then there's no doubt in my mind he could be victorious, turn the tide, and be world champion again. We'll find out on fight night if we can turn the tide, because sparring is one thing. The little gloves is a whole nother thing. Yes, he has some mileage on him. He's a veteran. He was out of the sport for almost 2 years. So we'll see how that plays out. But if I was Ramos, hell, I'd want the grandfather version. The path of least resistance is usually better for you. But if that's what he wants, I don't know that I would want that version of Banana, because he's an awfully strong guy. You've seen what he did to J-Rock. and
Mhm.
he could punch. He could do a lot of things in there, a plethora of things. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and the thing is, there, with Jesus Ramos, with this bout, being scheduled for, the middleweight division. Now, the thing with Rosario is he's kind of been around that middleweight division in his, previous few fights there, including the one against Jared Hurd. So, he doesn't necessarily have to, worry too much about the whole weight thing or getting adjusted to it. And, like you said, with the sparring, like spar those same type of fighters there to get used to what would happen there in the ring. So I think that's a key part there for Jeison Rosario in his upcoming bout against Jesus Ramos here.
Yeah, no two ways about it. He's been, like you said, in and around the division for a while. And I think it's a good division for him. I think it's a good, comfortable weight for him. And we'll see how Ramos adjusts to the weight. Obviously, he's the younger guy. I'm sure he'll be fine adjusting to the weight. He'll probably enjoy it because he gets to eat a little bit more. He doesn't have to get down to 154 because Ramos is a very, very big 54 pounder. Obviously, Rosario started off at 54 pounds. He was the unified champion in that weight class, and now here he is at 60. Well, so we'll see how the weight plays out for Ramos, and we'll see how it plays out for us.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's like the first bout that's on the pay-per-view portion of the card there at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. So that's going to be really good to have those eyes being focused on Jeison Rosario in his upcoming bout against Jesus Ramos Jr. I'm go back to that fight here in a little bit, but also wanted to talk about the Candyman there, John Easter, scheduled to fight. I think it's Joseph Aguilar on this card, and I'm sure he's happy to get to fight there in T-Mobile Arena. Now, is his excitement level to a point where you have to calm him down a little bit at certain points, or is he ready and cool, calm, collected for next Saturday?
Well, one thing about the Candyman, he's always about the energy, regardless, whether it's sparring, whether it's running. He's just one of those guys that's naturally energetic. I'm so thankful to be working with him. I'm thankful that Floyd, has blessed me to work with him. And I'm sure Floyd could tell you he's got a great personality. I think he's great for the sport. He's charismatic. He's electric. He got fast hands. And I think people are going to be very, very surprised with him and the way he progresses down the line in his future. But I think he's got the whole package. He's a great athlete and really works hard. And the thing I like about him is, though, too, cerebrally, he's much more than people think. He's energetic. He's I'm the Candyman, Johnny. Let's go, baby, Candyman. But very cerebral, very introspective, and those are the type of fighters that I love to work with.
Yeah, for sure. And he's there. I guess this is going to be his eighth. It's going to be his eighth professional bout there.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's there was the first time he's going to be there in a scene in Las Vegas, where he's pretty much like based in Las Vegas area too. So that's going to be really interesting bout for him there coming up. So definitely looking forward to him on that. But also, I mean, I wanted to go right into one of the main things here. As last weekend, of course, you were coming back from being at West Point over the course of the weekend and had those series of events at West Point there. So you were able to speak with the cadets in the Army, and also interact with generals and multiple dignitaries there during that weekend. Go over that experience if you can.
You know what? For me, I always want to give back. And I think we want to leave the sport of boxing in a better place than we found it, because boxing has changed my whole life. Without boxing, I definitely would have had the interactions and the being able to meet with people and dignitaries without the sport of boxing. So I'm always blessed in that regard. And the great thing about it is when you're talking with some of these generals and the head of Homeland Security and the head of cybersecurity, and the funny thing is, everybody uses boxing analogies. When they're war gaming and they're talking, the sport of boxing is just in the psyche of so many people's minds when they give analogies. When they're talking about that, the cadets actually have to go through a boxing training, which I think is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to talk about the sport of boxing and to uplift the sport, I'm happy to do it. It's a blessing. And like I said, some of the generals, when I was talking to some of them, and they were just talking about when they did boxing, when, they were on their ranks coming up, and some of the strategies that they look at and what it builds for you, not just physically, but mentally. And that's what they take forward with them when they're making a lot of decisions and tough times and things of that nature. So just was blessed to do it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you had the like I said, 3-day weekend. You were able to speak with them, and like you said, bring in the element of boxing there, to what they said there with the Army cadets, and how that has been, part of your life, your experience. I think here it said that, you said, quote, "This weekend has further fueled my passion for sharing the principles of success, with a wider audience." And that you look forward to doing more speaking engagements with Fortune 500 companies in the future, helping them build championship mindsets within their organizations. Now, are there some companies in mind that you would want to be like a keynote speaker for?
Well, to me, there's no company too big, no company too small. I don't care if it's a mom and pop shop. And when I could share about the sport of boxing, how it's changed my life, the discipline that it gave me, there's no doubt in my mind, if it wasn't for the sport of boxing, I'd probably be in prison. I was headed down at probably a path that I shouldn't have been going down. And a lot of times when we're adolescents, we make a lot of decisions that we shouldn't. And because of the sport of boxing and the discipline that it gave me, it changed my life. And I want to make sure that I can do as much as I can to promote the sport, to do that where I know it can change a lot of younger people's minds, individuals. And not only that, for people that are even in their mid 50s or their 60s or their 40s, there's nothing like training in boxing, the conditioning that gives you, the health that it brings you, the benefits it can bring you to get you healthy. There's no workout like boxing. And of course, all of us can't climb in the ring and be world-class fighters, but you can get in a gym, you can get a good workout in, it can help you psychologically, physiologically, and there's nothing like it.
Yeah, for sure. It gives you a boost of confidence if you're able to, go in the gym and work out and do a couple of boxing exercises and things like that too. But, just being able to implement this, the impact of the sport of boxing, not just inside the ring, but outside the ring, and how it has changed a lot of lives here. And I don't think that a number of people like kind of bring that up and how it has impacted lives there for people, all over the world there. So I think, yeah, with you spreading the word out there, that's definitely a great thing there. So, we also, part of that weekend there, because it wasn't just you, it was your son that was out there over at West Point too. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that he was at Washington, D.C. on Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
He was able to meet and greet and be with all the heavy hitters out there. And Obama was out there, Joe Biden, obviously, Donald Trump, all the people that, pull the levers of society. Mm-hmm. But that said, our main goal and main focus was to promote the sport of boxing, to make it first and foremost. And so that was the main goal for us. And we were thrilled to do it. We were thankful to do it. And I want to continue to do much more of it.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I'd like to see, of course, getting, the government involved in a sense, to the sport of boxing, and, kind of like, improve a couple of things there within the sport as far as like safety and regulations are concerned. That's been, one of the big topics there, when it comes to boxing and how things go. But, it remains to be seen how we'll be able to further progress with that, of course, if we, get the government involved in that type of thing. So that's going to be something there, right?
No doubt about it.
Okay, cool. Now let's return to, what's coming up next Saturday. As you mentioned, not only, you'll be there with Rosario and the Candyman John Easter, but you'll be on the team there with Coach Ronnie Shields as he gets
Ronnie Shields, let's go, baby.
David Morrell Jr. ready for his bout against David Benavidez in the main event. Now, I've been pumping this event ever since it's been announced. I said, man, this is going to be a fight. Okay, it's going to be a definite fight, and I feel like it's going to be a serious candidate for Fight of the Year. Now, what have you seen from David Morrell being around that camp here preparing for this fight?
Well, David Morrell, I tell everybody this. Obviously, I worked with Benavidez. I happened to live with him for a time. I know him very well. He's one of the best fighters in the world. But obviously, David Morrell, he's also one of the best fighters in the world. And the great thing that we have here is we have two of the young best guys in the sport going at it. Very, very rarely does that happen, but it's happening now. And my take is on it. Everybody's talking about experience. Everybody's talking about, Morrell doesn't have the experience. And I always tell people, take that with a caveat, because Morrell has the much more amateur experience. I know everybody's going to say, well, amateur experience doesn't mean anything for the pros. It does to a degree, because if you have a good amateur pedigree, it gets you off to a good start. So now moving forward with that, what people don't realize is in terms of experience, they don't realize, well, Morrell fought in his third pro fight for a title. He's fighting a guy 27-0. So yes, the other guy has more fights, but I don't know, it was his 9th, 10th fight. He's fighting a guy who's won 6-2. I don't know how much you garner from that in terms of experience. I guess every time you climb in the ring, you do get some experience, but can you parlay that to a guy in his third fight going into his 11th or 12th? That's 8, 9 fights at maybe not big name guys, but you're fighting guys who are Olympians from Kazakhstan. He's fought some pretty solid guys, maybe not some of the name guys, but that being said, pretty solid competition for the most part. So he has some pretty good experience in that part. I will say this. I say this, one caveat that I'm going to give you and your viewers is this. Obviously, in a fight, one guy could hit with one punch and it's good night. A guy could, get hit with a body shot. It's good night, break a rib. You could throw your shoulder up. Outside of those types of things, I will tell people this. If you really look at it, I think David Morrell has many more paths to victory than Benavidez. And the reason I say that is one, Morrell's a lefty. That's going to be problematic in and of itself. 2, Morrell can fight on angles. He can fight off the back foot. He can turn you. Benavidez, for the most part, his feet are nowhere near as quick as Morrell's. So he's going to be much more limited in his path to victory. That's my take on the fight.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you talked about with David Morrell, as far as like his overall record, right? This will be his 12th pro bout. But you mentioned there in his third pro bout, he fought Lennox Allen there for the WBA super middleweight title. Like, in Lennox Allen already had like 23 pro fights. But you talked about, there with Morrell having that experience as an amateur, they said, hey, you know what? We could get him a fight or two, but then after that, he'll be ready to go up against those guys that have that amount of experience. And fighting a guy that's like 22-0 or 26-3 or 28-2 or 24-1, that's what David Morrell has been doing so far here in his professional career. So as Coach Ronnie Shields said, the experience didn't matter much when he faced those guys. So I mean, why are they bringing it up here?
And the reality of it is, you can only fight the level of opposition that they put in front of you, right? So it's like my heavyweight Denier the Fear Perot. Everybody looking out for Denier the Fear Perot. We had 17 opponents turn him down for career high paydays, and they say, well, he's only fighting this level of competition. Well, we can't force people to get in the ring that don't want to get in the ring for career high paydays. So to think that David Morrell wouldn't get in the ring with Caleb Plant, or David Morrell wouldn't get in the ring with Andre Durrell, I mean, obviously he's getting in the ring with Benavidez. So you would get in the ring with those guys. So you can only fight the level of opposition that's brought for you to fight. But if you look at it by his third pro fight, you look at the tasks that he took on, he succeeded in all those tasks, and I'm looking for him to be successful February 1st at the T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah, that was the thing. Him getting the WBA super middleweight title in his third pro fight, and was able to defend that particular title for multiple times there while he's been in the super middleweight division. So that should kind of like stand out as, okay, he should be ready for a fight of this magnitude, and he's been looking forward to a fight of this magnitude. And folks that have seen the two videos things as far as like the preparation for both Benavidez and Morrell, you can see Morrell is like really psyched up, really ready to go. He's been dancing, he's been singing.
He's been dreaming about this. He's been dreaming about this. I mean, he's pinching himself. He can't believe that they took the fight.
Yeah. So that's definitely something there that we're looking forward to on February 1st. I'm very excited because I'm gonna be out there, man. I'm gonna be out there for the whole fight week. I'm ready to go, so it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be lit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now you did talk about Denny Aparo there being part of your camp there, and I talk about you as like being one of the busiest people in the sport. Working with a lot of fighters and everything like that, man. You be having like a full camp and all that stuff, right? Now, last year, like for example, you led Luis Nunez to the win over Leonardo Bias on ProBox TV, and we talked about in our last conversation there, what happened with Mario Barrios and Abel Ramos there at the AT&T Stadium. Now, you recently added another fighter in your camp there in Elijah Garcia, who has a bout scheduled for next month. How has that camp been with Elijah Garcia?
Great, man. I'm very thankful to have him. He's working hard, trying to give him a little bit more experience. Like we talked about earlier, you can't buy experience, but you're going to pay for it one way or the other. So, so thankfully, I've been very, very fortunate to learn from a guy like Ronnie Shields, to be in his gym, watch him every day when we work together with Erislandy Lara, and obviously we work together with Morrell. So he's one of the legends in the sport, Ronnie Shields. And all you voters out there, you should be putting him in the Hall of Fame. He deserves his just due. And I was fortunate enough to be around in Joe Goose and work with him, who is a Hall of Famer. And I was fortunate at a time to be working with Emmanuel Stewart when he was with Jose Salaya way back in the day, the 2000 alternate Olympian. So I've learned from those guys. I've taken from those guys and try to give what I've learned from them to these young guys coming up. And so hopefully, it'll take root and he'll be able to make the adjustments and move forward and ascend himself into a world championship contention. I think he can do it. Matter of fact, I know we can do it. He just got to stay the course.
As far as like being inducted in the Hall of Fame, I don't know. I might have to make some phone calls or send a few emails, but if that don't work, I might have to make the drive over there to Kennesaw, New York, and say, hey.
I can't. Sometimes I say to I tell Ronnie all the time. I said, I can't believe he's not in the Hall of Fame with everything that he's done and everybody that he's worked with. Pernell Whitaker, Mike Tyson. I mean, you name it, man. He's worked with a plethora of fighters. How is he not in the Hall of Fame?
Like Guillermo Rigondeaux, like all of them, and like he's been a coach there with all of those guys, and he still say like he hasn't been. They're inducted.
You know what? He's a humble person. He's a humble person. And usually people that are that humble don't talk about themselves. Sometimes they don't get the accolades and the credit that they deserve because, they never want to speak on themselves. But I'm going to speak on Ronnie Shields. He's one of the absolute best. He's been an ambassador for the sport. He's a tremendous coach. He's a tremendous strategically in what he's doing. He's the full package, and I've been very, very blessed to be in corners with him because without being in corners with him, learning from him, obviously I couldn't do the things that I'm doing now. And so I'm very fortunate to have been in and around a guy like Joe Goose and Ronnie Shields and those types. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about there with Joe Goose, and I've seen a recent conversation that you had with him, and he said, hey, you're about 3/4 of the way there, man. And like I said, I'm telling you, I told folks this, man. I'm gonna find a way to get on, whether it's the boxing writers or whatever it is, and I'm gonna get y'all on the ballot, and I'm gonna get y'all in the Hall of Fame. If it takes me to do that, I'll do it.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And now, there any updates on more fighters that you're working with that are coming up here?
Well, fortunately, I do work with Daniel Perot's brother, Lanier Perot. He was in a little bit of some contract disputes. He's the number 4 heavyweight in the world. We had that big win over the Ukrainian. And then, sometimes the powers that be and politics, and there's politics in everything in life, that. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're in, where you're at, whether you work at Starbucks, whether you work, there's always going to be a little bit of politics going on because people are involved. But unfortunately, He had a little bit of contract disputes, but I think that's all past and behind him now. He should be making his way out to camp here to join his brother Denier, and hopefully we can either get him in a stay busy fight or ascend to that next level where the Turk or somebody in Saudi Arabia could come get him and get back onto that level and make his own run, because there's never been a Cuban heavyweight champ of the world. And I think I got two great opportunities with Denier and Lanier Perot. One of them is going to come through for us.
Yeah, we got to see how we're going to be able to maneuver them to, get up in the rankings and, have those specific positions to, fight for a world title here. I don't know if it'll be maybe later this year or, next year or something like that. But, as long as they're able to strategically, put them in the right fights and get them in there with the right, the best opponents out there, then, yeah, they could really contend for a world title there really soon. Now, as far as like the fights coming up next Saturday, we talked about, all the fights that you're going to be involved in. They got like, a couple of other interesting fights on here as well. You got the co-feature bout there, rematch, Brandon Figueroa versus Stephen Fulton. I mean, that was a great bout with the first one here. Just looking forward to seeing what happens here in the rematch, given that, Figueroa has, had some success there within the 126-pound division. This is going to be for the WBC belt in the featherweight division. And then you got Stephen Fulton here that, coming up from 122 that's had one fight at 126 already. So what are you thinking about that bout?
Well, Figueroa has been training out of our gym, so I see him pretty much every day. That being said, I'm a big fan of Fulton. I'm going to say it here. I picked Fulton to beat anyway. So that tells you how much I like Stevie Fulton and believe in him. But I always say Fulton, until he got caught, people don't realize this. Anybody can get caught with a punch they don't see coming at the wrong time. Doesn't mean they're a bad fight. Doesn't mean that they probably couldn't have been capable of winning the fight. Who knows? They could fight a rematch. You look at Foreman and Joe Frazier, and you look at all these different types of fights and things like that. So to me, I actually picked him to beat Inoue. It didn't turn out that way. But that's how much I believe in Fulton as a fighter. I think he's a tremendous, tremendous talent. And I think people always got to take things with a caveat though, too, because, I've been overseas to Japan. I've done fights in Africa. I've done fights in South America. And a lot of times you're at a huge disadvantage going overseas. Your body clock's not the right. I'm not making excuses. I did pick him. He didn't win the fight. You signed the contract. It is what it is. But I want people to understand what's going on. Yes, he lost, but understand what's going on. There's a lot of adversities that are going on when you take those challenges to go overseas. It is no easy task to win a title overseas, especially against Inoue, who's a pound-for-pound fighter. And unfortunately for Fulton, he came up short that night. But to me, it doesn't change anything about the quality of fighter that he is. I'm expecting it to be a tremendous fight. And again, I think Fulton, he can box. He can fight on the inside. He could do a plethora of different things. It's going to be an interesting fight. And I think the winner that night is going to be the fans.
Yeah, for sure. And you brought up a great point there as far as like, having these fighters, go to these countries, and that's like the biggest thing is adjusting to, the environment, the time change, all of that stuff. And, if you get there by a certain time, then maybe you could have something that adjusts to it. But outside of that, you really can't.
Yeah, it's never the same, no matter how much you adjust to it. And the thing about it is, though, too, I've done world title fights overseas, and, a lot of people, the old saying, you don't know what you don't know. So I don't care if you've done it. I've been overseas many, many times, and I've won world championships overseas. I've lost world championships overseas. And even when we've won those fights overseas and world championships, is anybody going to say, boy, I'm sure glad that this fight was, in South America. I'm sure glad this fight was in Japan, even though you won it. The reality of it is, you probably would have performed much better in your home country in the United States of America. It's tough to go over there and do that. And with the culture being different, you just feel like everything's against you. It's a lot more pressure than people think.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's like I said, I mean, I had like one recent trip last year over to England, and just being over there, right? Because I went for that the Riyadh season joint with Joshua versus Dubois, And just with that time difference, I mean, that, that was crazy.
Oh,
Whether it's from the flight going over there or like the flight back, it's just crazy.
and
So
even the culture, no matter what, you're not in your home country. So even if people are treating you pretty well, it's awkward. They're talking in a foreign language. You don't know what's going on. Everything is just much more complicated. There's no two ways about it.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Real quick here, just want to give a shout out to those that are on the live chat. Salute to Z Patino in the building. Rusty Cage says salute TBS and Coach Santos, and shout out to the Legacy man. Salute to the wisest source of boxing, the boxing source. It says the informative wizard of boxing. I don't know about all that, man. Shout out to brother Lance here in the building. Says hello to Coach Santos. What's going on? All right. I wanted to see if I could get one of our panelists here that's been part of the boxing source, and is actually a host of Brunch Boxing in the building, to see if he has a couple questions here for you. That's brother Matt of Brunch Boxing. What's going on?
What's going on, JR? Hey, how you doing, Mr. Santos? I hope
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. I wanted to ask you, because you have a lot of fighters that got some big fights coming up. Namely, you got Carlos Adames going up against Hamza Shiraz, and then you also have Alberto Puello going up
I'm
against.
actually not working with those guys anymore. I love them. I want them to do well. They're still good friends of mine, but I'm actually not working with them anymore. But like I said, I love them, and I wish and hope the best for them. They'll send me text messages here and there. How you doing, Coach? And so we had a little disagreement with their management team, but sometimes, like we were just talking about earlier, the politics of sports sometimes. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate, because I'll be honest with you, I feel like you were instrumental in guiding them to the heights that they reached so far in their
I wish you
career.
were the manager then. I wish you were the manager, but you know how that is. I wish you were the manager.
So, what fighters are you working with right now that got any fights coming up?
Well, we're going to have John the Candyman Easter. I'm very blessed to have him. I'm thankful that Floyd, is it Money Mayweather? Is it Pretty Boy Floyd? But I'm thankful that Floyd has entrusted him to me.
No, it's Grandpa Floyd now.
Yeah, Grandpa Floyd, he everything.
His grandson.
Listen, yeah, it's Grandpa. I'm teaching my grandson. I'm gonna bring up my grandson to be as great as me. TBE.
I mean, yeah. So I'm thankful for that. So we're gonna have John the Candyman Easter early on the card. Then we open up the bout, with on Amazon Prime with Ramos and Rosario. So I'm thankful to be a part of that. We'll see how that plays out, and then we're finalizing at the very end with Morrell and Benavidez. Yeah, I know both guys well. Like I've said, I lived with Benavidez at a time. I did work with Benavidez at a time, but I'm going with my man David Morrell Jr.
That hurts my heart, man. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big Benavidez fan, but
You want to hear something funny before you go there? So I'm with Benavidez's dad, because he had a couple guys, one of his guys getting ready at our gym to get ready for Andy Cruz, and so my father, he loves Benavidez. So my father all the time, he goes, man, you're dumb. You ain't working with Benavidez no more. Benavidez going to whoop Morrell's ass. He going to beat the dog shit out of him. My dad's telling me. I said, God dang, Dad, don't do me like that. He said, yeah, I'm telling you right now, he's going to beat the dog shit out of him. I said, that's how they make the fights, Pop.
Yeah.
Oh,
listen, honestly, it's a 50-50 fight. I can see it going either way, but I gotta favor Benavidez because he came on my show. So I gotta.
and I love, the truth of the matter is, it's tough for me in the sense that, like I said, I lived with Benavidez. I worked with him for a time. Morrell, when he first got to this country, was living with me in Minnesota. And I love both guys, man. They treat me so good. And a lot of people don't understand. Most fighters are the best people in the world. Of all the athletes, they'll give their time. They'll give their shirt off the back. I know what people see on social media, but great people. I mean, truly great people, especially when the cameras are off. Just humble, but they're two of the best. and they're gonna have to get it on, and we're gonna see who the best is.
Oh man,
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna ask because obviously we know Rosario versus Ramos. I'm very interested in that fight because I feel like this is like a tale as old as time in boxing. You have the old veteran, the old champion versus the young guy trying to get to the next level. Either the young guy overcomes the older champion, or the older champion says, "Not so fast, young man." So, what's the strategy? Well, maybe not give away strategy, obviously, but what does he present to your guy that you have to look out for in this bout?
Well, one thing when you hit the head on the nail, when you have a young guy that's hungry, he has the desire, he wants to be great. He feels that he was slighted in the Lubin fight, so he's got a lot to prove. So a lot of times with a young guy, that is hard to overcome. The desire, the want, the energy, the freshness, the youth. But like you said, we do have some experience on our side. Rosario's been down that path. He's unified the titles, and he'll present some challenges to him. I know a lot of people thought we were going to get stopped with, because Rosario was off for 2 years. They didn't think we were even going to make the distance, being stopped 3 times. We all seen what happened with the Charlo fight. Got stopped by Lubin. So nobody was giving Rosario any kind of chance at all, even in the Hurd fight. He got the draw. It parlayed him into this. And now it's going to be experience versus youth and desire, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, we're gonna see, with that belt, like I said, that opens the pay-per-view there, Amazon Prime pay-per-view there. Jeison Rosario going up against Jesus Ramos Jr. So definitely looking forward to that matchup that's coming up. I mean, you got all of the action, like you said, there within just that one day. They're dealing with John Easter and dealing with Jeison Rosario and being in the corner there alongside Coach Ronnie Shields for David Morrell Jr. But that was a funny little story there that you were talking about with your father talking all that trash, man. That's almost like Louis the Cubist Senior and Louis the Cubist Jr. That's going to be going after each other here leading up to this fight. So it's definitely a crazy little
it's a weird dynamic now because all these things are going like this, and usually obviously my mom and dad, they root for me, but this is the one time I can honestly say Pops is rooting against me. No two ways about it. He loves Benavidez, and he said he's gonna beat the dog shit out of him. You're gonna be crying that night. We're gonna bring you some tissues, wipe them tears off that damn face of yours, boy. So I said, damn, Dad, like that. And my mom's like, she's like, mijo, don't worry, mijo. It's okay. He still loves you. My mom's like, easy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, if he shows up to the press conference, it's gonna make that press conference be even more wild if he goes in there. You're sitting on the podium, man, and your dad's out there talking about, hey, he's gonna beat up.
He's gonna beat the shit out of him.
Like, oh man, that's gonna be insane. That's gonna be insane. But hey, you got to get yourself, of course, cleared, ready. I think you're about to go ahead and pick up David Morrell Jr. here while he's being on location there in Vegas, so he gets properly adjusted. Actually, the thing is too, right? Because a lot of people know about Vegas, being like a desert area and things like that, but they don't know that with it being surrounded by mountains, it gets cold. So I'm telling y'all, next week in the evenings, man, even a sweater might not work. You might need a coat. You might need a hoodie over that and all that type of stuff. So I'm definitely gonna be prepared for that coming up there as well, man. Hey, brother Matt, you got anything more here for Coach Santos?
No. Honestly, I just want to wish you good luck, Coach Santos. You listen, in my book, you are a legend in boxing, man. I respect what you've done with a lot of different fighters. I respect how you bring guys to the world level, bring them to heights that maybe they didn't even know that they can get to. You always seem to bring the best out of guys. Honestly, I look at you as responsible for the ascension of Dominican boxing, man. So you are definitely a legend in the game, man. And I appreciate you taking time out here to chop it up for us on the Boxing Source.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. I can't thank that enough, and that means a lot to me. For people to say things like that, and that's why we put the work in that we do and work so damn hard. Because at the end of the day, you know, these fighters put their lives on the line. I want to see them not only come out safe, but I want to see them to be able to take care of their families and ascend to a level to change their lives, their kids' lives, and that's why we put the work in we do. And then obviously, the respect of people in and around like yourself that cover the sport of boxing, watch the sport of boxing. We got to give our absolute best every single time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, I try to, put in the work. You got, of course, my brother here, Matt, here definitely putting in the work there with Brunch Boxing. Y'all can check out Brunch Boxing, of course, on Twitter and on the
Brunch Boxing. I'm looking at it all the time. I see that all the time. I hear what's going on here on X, Twitter. X. I'm old school, I guess. I'm still Twitter now.
I still call it
watch
Twitter
that
too.
Hey, listen, I call it Twitter Spaces. So it's like I keep the
whatever. I see the thing.
Yeah, exactly. And we got to get you in one of the spaces sometime, Coach Santos, man. You got to come chop it up with the people.
Anytime. Get my contact number from James, my phone number, personal number, whatever you need, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we might see if we can set something up for that during fight week, because of course, I'm gonna be on location for fight week, and then we'll have them on there for Brunch Boxing during fight week. So, what he said? Hold on. He said we got one question here on the chat. It says Rusty K says, does Coach have any fighters on the Friday's Pro Box card there? So,
no, nobody coming up on Friday's Pro Box card. We're gonna have a fights on March 8th on Pro Box. So I got 2 guys going at it on March 8th. On Pro Box, so we'll see how it plays out.
Okay, March 8th on Pro Box. Yeah, that's a Saturday night. That's a week after the Tank versus a Roadshot card there in Brooklyn. So yeah, hey, that shows how busy Coach Bob Santos is there, man. So once he gets done with what's going to happen here on February 1st, he got more fighters that he got to get prepared for. These fights here. So like, what is that? February 1st, February 15th, or you said March 8th.
March 8th. March 22nd with Elijah Garcia against Goucher.
Yeah,
it don't stop. It don't stop.
Yeah, for sure. But big thanks here, for joining us here on the Boxing Source. I know that you gotta go ahead and get prepared to pick up Osvari, their brother Morrell Jr. and
have at the airport.
Yep, get them ready to go there. So we're definitely looking forward to catching more from you, of course, during fight week. And yeah, I'm gonna work on getting you on through the Twitter Spaces there through Brunch Boxing. So we're gonna
Brunch Boxing. Let's go. Get me on, baby. I'm ready to go.
Let's go. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. God bless you guys.
All right. Good luck.
Yeah, so that's Coach Bob Santos there that was able to join us here for the Midweek Report. Very thankful that he was able to come on with us here as he prepares his fighters for that February 1st fight card at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. So that's going to be, definitely great there to see him out there during that, fight week. And yeah, he's a very cool dude, man. I've seen him, over the course of the past few years with the number of fighters that we mentioned there, whether, he's currently working with them or has worked with them. And yeah, he's been a cool dude for sure. But yeah, we in the mix here with the Midweek Report. Have another one of our panelists here that's been backstage here now should be ready to go here for a little bit there. Of course, it's our great guy here. The Boxing Academic is in the building. What's happening?
Not much. How you fellas doing tonight?
Yeah, we all good here. Well, we all good on my side, man. All good on my side, man. Just had the conversation there with Coach Bob Santos. Though that we have a couple of topics here that we're going to be talking about here on this segment. But we got a little bit of a busy weekend coming up here. We got like I said, we got fights that's coming up on Pro Box TV on Friday. We also had the thing there with Naoya Inoue defending his titles against Ye Jun Kim. That's gonna be, he's probably gonna get like Matt says, Wilder KO1, we might get an Inoue KO1 in this one. So that's gonna be very interesting there. And of course, what's coming up on Saturday with Diego Pacheco versus Steven Nelson. I'm definitely looking forward to that fight card as well. That's gonna be real interesting there with Diego Pacheco trying to deal with a guy that has the experience level of Steven Nelson there. I mean, are you still there with us, academic?
Yep.
Yeah. So
now you know you was naming a bunch of guys that academic never heard of or never watched. That's
come
why
on,
he's
man.
zoned
Nah,
out.
don't
That's
do
why
that
he's
to
zoned
him.
out.
Come on,
He was
man.
like,
Come on,
like,
man.
what is this guy talking about? Can we
You-
get to Benavidez Morrell, please?
You know what? I call myself, since the artist formerly known as MVO is big time, I got to make sure that, because he has power to end your life on these internet streets. So I was making sure that I always speak second to him, so he can always do me right in public, so he can be my friend in public.
Hey, listen, man, the floor is always yours, man. But I will say, right? So this Inoue Kim fight, you know, I like to hit up FanDuel every now and again to bet. So this fight, first of all, the money line is minus 5,000, and this fight is such a mismatch that they don't even let you bet on the KO. You have to choose a specific round in order to bet on it. I'm like, yo, why even have this fight? Like,
Hey,
listen.
listen.
I hope Kim walks out the ring like Curtis Harper.
Listen, I looked at the thing on DraftKings and they had pretty much the same odds. And the thing was, they had like opened the lines for it, like what it was, like about a week ago for this. Like I was unsure if they were even gonna put it on there for it because of how bad it is. I was like, come on, boy, like this is not good. This is not good there. So have to see, how that kind of shakes out. Rusty Cage here says they're with the fights that are on the 25th. He's looking forward to seeing Ernesto Mercado there. That's going to be facing Jose Pedraza. Seeing if he's going to get more mainstream airtime. Well, we'll see. I mean, he's going to go up against Pedraza, and you've seen what happened when Keyshawn Davis got his hands on Jose Pedraza pretty much like a year, pretty much like 12 months ago. So, and you see where Keyshawn Davis is getting to here at this point. So maybe you had this as one of those, as they say, gatekeeper things there with Jose Pedraza going up against Ernesto Mercado in that fight card on the 25th. So that's gonna make for a very active weekend, so to speak. And as I mentioned, also with ProBox TV having their fight card on there is coming up as well on Friday night. That's interesting because they usually have their fights on Wednesdays. Last year they started to have other fight cards that were on Saturdays and things like that. What was it? We had a thing there with Lamont Rose Jr. that had something. They even did televise the card that was for No Excuse Promotions over at Rose Card Raceway. I think Sharetta Metcalf was part of a fight where she was on ProBox TV where she won the world title, right? So they've been really involved in getting more fight cards outside of Plant City, but now they're starting to do more cards that are on Fridays and Saturdays instead of on Wednesday nights, which is going to be interesting to me because I feel like ProBox TV being tied to Wednesday nights, that was like their MO. So that's going to be interesting to see if they kind of like delve away from having those fight cards on Wednesday nights there. But yeah, coming up on Friday, they're going to have Najee Lopez versus Gilbert Rivera. I think that's the headline about. And then as I had one guest, Jordan Roach and Ben Johnson, they're going to be part of that fight card as well. And also Trayvon Marshall is added to that card as well as Jeremiah Milton. So a lot of action. Like I said, a lot of action on the joint there, man. But Well, Mike, you want to see if we could go ahead and talk about that topic you brought up?
Oh yeah. I thought it would be a good topic to talk about. Yep. You want me to lead us off?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm glad that MVO Matt is here as well, even though I know he told me to stop calling him that. So I was on Facebook and it was a Clarissa Shields post where I guess her and Layla Ali had some spat. And
Right.
so she put a post where she said that Layla Ali is essentially one of those old fighters that are jealous of her. And so, quite naturally, those type of things draw in a nice crowd. And one of the comments that a person made was, Clarissa Shields is the most decorated fighter ever, male or female. And so you had a number of people, most people were saying you're crazy. And then you had a few people saying like, yeah, she actually is the most decorated fighter ever. And so I thought to do a little homework. I'll be honest, I don't care enough about it to like put a lot of time into it. So I went to Chat GPT and I wanted to ask Chat GPT, what did they think about who is the most decorated fighter? And so one of the things that I found was, so I asked them, how do you judge the most decorated fighter? And so some of the criteria that they brought up was amateur career, professional titles, quality of opposition, career longevity, undefeated status, pound for pound legacy, influence and cultural impact, financial and commercial success, adaptability and resilience, and innovation and style. And so then I also asked them, okay, out of all of these, how would you weight these? And so obviously it put more weighting on professional titles, number of belts, undisputed, 25% on quality opposition, 15% on cultural impact, 10% on career longevity, 10% on career, amateur career, and 5% on adaptability and weight class versatility, and 5% on commercial success. So how do we feel about these just before we get into anything? How do you feel about it?
No, I mean it was able to properly what I would say categorize these the multiple things there that kind of consider when it comes to this particular title of most decorated fighter, so to speak. So given some of the ones that are on there, like quality opposition, professional titles, pound for pound, and that type of thing. That kind of is a huge factor as far as like saying who would be considered as the most decorated fighter, right? But also like being able to split it up to where you have like one category be much more important than, like, say for example, career longevity. So that like for example, professional titles is like 30% weighted on in comparison to like career longevity or something like that. So I think that is kind of like a good way to measure who could be determined as the most decorated fighter, at least in this particular sense.
Yep. And so in terms of amateur career versus quality of opposition, do you think that these are weighted in a fair weighting to say about most decorated? And Matt, you chime in too, please.
Like I mean, I feel like it is, particularly with the quality of opposition, because that's one of the topics that we have talked about over the years is a fighter's resume. So that has to be like one of the more important factors there when you talk about a fighter's legacy overall, or with them being in this case most decorated fighter.
Definitely. What about you, Matt?
Uh, so I'm looking at your criteria: amateur career. Okay, we know that. Professional titles. Okay, all right. Quality of opposition. Okay, but how do you determine quality of opposition? I'm curious to see how you do that. undefeated status. Okay, whatever that means. Career longevity. I don't think you can. If we're going to be talking about Clarissa Shields, how could we talk about career longevity when her career? She's only 29 years old. She's 30 in March. Her career is like I think only like halfway done, if that. Pound for pound legacy. Okay. Influence and cultural impact. That's interesting. Now, financial and commercial success. I don't know about that because a guy like Roy Jones, who without a doubt is one of the most decorated fighters of all time, one of the greatest fighters of all time, he didn't have a lot of financial and commercial success. He was kind of one of the guys that got lost in the 90s behind Mike Tyson and Oscar De La Hoya. So how do you measure that?
And Evander Holyfield.
Adaptability and resilience. I don't even know what the fuck that means. And innovation and style. Okay.
And so let me add one thing. So if you go to the column over there to the right, it then sort of weights those. So when you said commercial success, it only puts a 5% weight. And so this was totally me asking Chat GPT, what do they think about it? I don't know if I would put cultural influence and cultural impact as much as the most decorated fighter. But this is what Chat GPT said.
Well. To me, if you're doing the cultural blah 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 blah, then the only answer is Muhammad Ali. Because he is the culture of boxing. He's the most watched fighter of all time. We can agree on that, right? So
Of all time.
Yeah, but even Floyd Mayweather has his own cultural impact because he changed the way people even view the sport. So I think that is specific to the individual fighter. And so to me, what this allows us to do is to take a more objective look at what does most decorated mean. So while it may not be advantageous for some boxers, like you mentioned earlier, career longevity, I think you definitely have to take career longevity and what you've done, in the sport to decide like how much decoration you have. Because let's say you have won 5 belts in the span of like 2 years. Do we really rate that as high if you won 5 belts in like 2 years? I would argue no.
why would you argue no? I thought people love when people collect belts. So why is that different now?
But
Because typically when that happens, you go from 109 to 121 and you only move up 11 pounds and you get 5 belts.
Okay. But there's different guys in those weight classes. It's not like they're moving up in weight fighting the same guys. So, for example, Naoya Inoue, he moved up from 118 to 122. He went from cleaning out 118 to fighting Stephen Fulton and Marlon Tapales and Luis Nery. That's not good enough for you when it comes to decoration.
I won't speak on Inoue because I haven't followed his career enough to speak on the level of opposition. So I can't speak on Inoue's level of opposition. But
No,
what I
no, don't do that because you were speaking on Inuit. Listen, I'm not stupid. When you're talking about the little guys moving up from this to this, I know you're talking about Inuit because you don't really watch the little guys like that, but you know of them. So you're kind of in essence taking like a subliminal shot at Inuit, because you ain't talking
I'm
about
taking a shot at all the
Chocolatito.
people who move up like 5 pounds, 10 pounds, and they go up 3 weight divisions.
All right, but if that doesn't make a difference, right? Then how come sometimes when these guys move up from like 112 to 115 or 115 to 118, they get knocked the fuck out? Like, believe it or not, those 3 pounds make a difference in the lower weight classes. You got a guy like Jonathan Gonzalez, Bamba Gonzalez, Puerto Rican fighter, right? Every time he tried to move up in weight, he got his ass kicked, so he had to go back down. You know, it's like every single time he got his ass fucking kicked because the weight, believe it or not, actually matters. You know, and like Z Pacino said, put a name on it. Okay.
Hey, let me say this,
If
Matt.
you're
Let me say this.
uh-huh.
Your feelings are valid. Your feelings are valid. Can we stop talking about the small guys and talk about the people that really matter?
Oh my
All
God.
right, all right.
Let's go.
Let's get to
Let's
the
go to the
criteria.
next page.
No, let Matt say what he gonna say. Let Matt say what
Because
he gonna
because
say.
no no because I'm curious because you got your criteria here, right? So
Uh,
I'm actually curious to who did the boxing academic put in the running for most decorated. I
So
hope you have like a group of names and not just one name.
yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
So again, this is from ChatGPT, and so to your point, you might actually be on to something. So go ahead, Jr.
All right. So we're gonna go to the next page there that has the spreadsheet with the criteria and fighters that were like under consideration, right? Because the main topic there was the thing about Clarissa Shields. So Clarissa Shields is on there, and then you have multiple names that are on this list. You have Muhammad Ali, you have Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Sugar Ray Robinson, Henry Armstrong, Lennox Lewis, Alexander Usyk, and Vasily Lomachenko. So those are the people that are like considered here, at least in this particular instance, for most decorated fighter. And they get like each of those categories that are there on the left, and then they get the description of what each fighter did under that particular category there. So that's what we have here so
Yep.
far.
So let's go down the list. Let's talk about Clarissa Shields, and I'll let Matt.
How about we end with Clarissa Shields? Let's go down the list and we'll end with Clarissa
What
Shields because
I don't.
I saw some names up there that make no sense. So I want to get to the actual list because Clarissa Shields historically is above a few of those people that are on that list, and I'll say that. So
Mm,
let's go through the
mm.
list, Mike Brady.
So since you have that feeling, you start us off. Who you want to start with?
Well, I can't see the list that well because the screen looks different on StreamYard. So I defer to the host to give us a name.
All right, so yeah, because I try to expand it there, or let me see if I could just do it here. I don't know if you're able to hear me, right?
Yeah.
So all right, so we got this thing here with first off, next to Clarissa Shields is Muhammad Ali.
Can you zoom out a little bit? Like all right, there we go. Yeah, I just
Yeah,
turned the screen landscape so now I can see it better. All right, let's do this.
yeah. So you got Muhammad Ali first, won the Olympic gold in 1960, three-time heavyweight champion. There wasn't really such a thing as undisputed back when he was there. Quality of opposition, fought.
Hold on. He was undisputed champion. I don't like
Well,
that they say there's no such thing as undisputed. He was undisputed champion.
well, I mean that's what Chat GPT is talking about. But he said
Talking about he's the only heavyweight in history to regain the lineal and undisputed
lineal,
heavyweight
yeah,
champion 3 times.
yeah.
Okay. So lineal. Okay. So we're adding in our own takes in this as well. This is from ChatGPT. So he has a lineal. So we'll consider that as part of undisputed as well.
All right. So we got the joint here with quality of opposition, fighting, Frazier, Foreman, and multiple others that you could, get there, Kid Norton, that type of stuff, right? Career longevity there for about 20 plus 21 years. Undefeated status, no. Weight class, it wasn't heavyweight. Cultural impact, of course. Commercial success, of course. Adaptability and resilience. Coming back from the whole thing with the Vietnam stuff or whatever it is. Innovation and style. Y'all know I'm the greatest. They know it. So yeah. That's
Why do they have his exile listed from 71 to 74? That's not accurate.
well,
Matt, I think ChatGPT can get stuff wrong. Let's just take it
All
for
right,
what it's
all
worth.
right. Okay,
all
all
right.
right.
So what
Okay.
next? We got Manny Pacquiao, amateur career, modest. I'm like, who knows about it? Pro titles in 8 weight classes, undisputed, never. He wasn't even unified, never unified. Quality of opposition, fought, multiple fighters, notable fighters across generations or weight classes. Pro from 95 to 2021. Of course, it wasn't undefeated. Weight class adaptability, dominated 8 weight classes. Remember, this is Chat GPT.
That's not true. That's
Chat
not true.
GPT.
Dominated
Chat GPT. Remember that.
But this is where we argue our differability from Chat GPT. I wouldn't necessarily argue with that either, but this is what they think.
But he only had a cup of coffee at 140. So how could he have dominated?
Yeah, like one fight at 140, and that was pretty. Then that was it at the very least, right?
Just David Diaz, I believe.
And you know what I say about it? 8 weight classes, technically.
Listen, I count lineal, I guess.
Right?
Oh, you guess.
Cultural impact there, Philippines and all that type of stuff. Top pay-per-view fighter in Asia, says reinvented style over decades, I guess. Fast-paced, relentless pressure for Emmanuel Dapidran Pacquiao. And you got Floyd Mayweather Jr., Golden Gloves champion,
bronze medal.
Yeah, bronze medal, 5 weight classes. Their pro titles, never undisputed. Thank you, Zab Judah. Quality of opposition, well, of course, defeated everybody. Their career longevity, 96, 2017, undefeated, dominated 5 weight classes, revolutionized defensive boxing, record-breaking pay-per-view sales, fought across eras and stayed dominant and perfected the shoulder roll. Therefore, Floyd Joy Mayweather, actually, that's not his. I'll move on. Sugar Ray Robinson.
Floyd Sinclair.
Yeah, exactly. Sugar Ray Robinson, amateur standout, no Olympics. ChatGPT says titles in 2 weight classes. Well, they didn't, like I said, you could pretty much say he was lineal champion there. So you got that.
And that was over like how many years?
Like what we say, pro from 1940 to 1965. 173, 19 and 6. Dominated welterweight and middleweight. Set the standard for boxing excellence. Limited commercial focus in his day, of course. Dominated pre and post World War II boxing, according to ChatGPT, and mastered pound for pound versatility. So you got Sugar Ray Robinson.
And I'm saying he dominated welterweight and middleweight over a number of years. That's what I'm saying. Like he was the guy over some years.
All right, so can't wait till we get to this next page. Henry Armstrong says modest amateur career, titles in 3 weight classes, had 3 world championships at the same time, beat champions across multiple weights, pro from 1931 to 1945, 151, 21 and 9. Like I said, held 3 weight class world titles, unprecedented simultaneous dominance, limited commercial focus like Sugar Ray Robinson, dominance in multiple division, and known for relentless aggression for Henry Armstrong. Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis. All right.
First of all, Lennox Lewis should not be on the list. Lennox Lewis should not be on the list at all.
Wait a second, Matt. Wait a second. Wait a second. Lennox Lewis should not be on the list.
No.
Keep reading, guys. Keep reading.
All right.
So as far as comparables, if Lennox Lewis shouldn't be on the list, Lennox Lewis compares with Muhammad Ali as far as comparables, not in terms of cultural impact.
No,
he doesn't. No,
let's read.
All right, let's read. All right. Amateur career.
In terms of his time, I'm saying it's similar.
All right, here we go. Amateur career, handed an Olympic gold by the referee. All right. Pro titles, 3-time heavyweight champion. Undisputed at heavyweight, beat Holyfield, beat Tyson, beat Vitaly. Pro from 89 to 2003, 41, 2-1 was in 1 division. Popularized the heavyweight division in the 1990s. ChatGPT.
No, he didn't.
Come on.
No, he didn't.
Come on. No. He didn't even
Mike
face.
Tyson.
Listen.
That was Iron Mike Tyson.
No, but I'll go into that part here in a bit. Okay.
So y'all don't think that he
No.
he didn't popularize it, but he took over it.
No. I'll get into that a little bit later.
This a Lennox Lewis hating channel?
No, it's not. I'll tell you.
Lennox Lewis, no, bro.
Listen, Lennox Lewis during the 1990s didn't really face Tyson, Holyfield at the top of their games. What was it? George Foreman. What? Michael Moore. Riddick Bowe. Who else? Because I named 5. Those were the guys that stood out in the 1990s. And Lennox Lewis didn't fight any one of those guys. But the thing with Holyfield and Tyson, that didn't happen until the tail end of the 90s. And after Holyfield and Tyson fought each other twice. And Holyfield fought Bowe, 3 times in the 90s, right? So Lewis had no part of being popularized in the heavyweight division in the 1990s. For those that are watching or whatever it is, name one fight that Lennox Lewis had during that particular time that stands out in comparison to the 2 Holyfield Tyson fights. George Foreman versus Michael Moore, Riddick Bowe versus Evander Holyfield 2 and 3, right?
And don't forget Evander Holyfield versus Michael Moore.
Evander Holyfield versus Michael Moore. What else? Evander Holyfield versus George Foreman, right? Like, all of those fights happened in the 1990s, and Lennox Lewis was not involved in any one of those. All right. What is it? Adaptability and resilience. Rebounded.
I agree with y'all since y'all put it that way. I get what you're saying, and I agree.
Rebounded after getting knocked the fuck out twice. There's defeat. Innovation and sound technical mastery for a big man. Oh my god. All right.
Oh, you don't agree with that one?
Here's the thing, Mike. It's very easy to come back from getting knocked the fuck out when you get knocked out by guys that didn't belong in the ring with you in the first place. I don't give Anthony Joshua credit for beating Andrew Ruiz the second time. You should have beat him the first time. You don't get credit for that.
Like my joint was with Lennox Lewis. Like you get knocked clean out by Oliver McCall, and then you get knocked clean out by Hasim Rahman, right? And the thing with Oliver McCall was that was the one before I think he had Emmanuel Stewart in his corner, and still even after that he still had those tendencies to leave his hands down and all that type of stuff, and that's how he got knocked clean out by Hasim Rahman in that fight. If you're supposed to be one of those top fighters that people claim you are, whether it's the heavyweight division or all time, you shouldn't have those type of moments. Like at least not in that sense. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna get us back on topic because we talking about most decorated. We ain't talking about
So that's why
the legitimacy of the legacy.
All right. So, but I'll go into that a little bit later. Let's go to Alexander Usyk. Olympic gold. Titles undisputed in 2 weight classes there. Beat cruiserweights, elite cruiserweights, and heavyweights there it says. Active since 2013. Undefeated. Adaptability cruiserweight to heavyweight. Elevated cruiserweights prestige.
The answer's no. The answer's no on Usyk. Please go to Lomachenko. Please.
The answer is no to Usyk. What, man?
Yo, go look at what it says for quality of opposition for Lomachenko. Please look at what it says.
What it say?
Let me ask you a question, Mike. Who won between Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez?
Who what?
Who won between Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez?
Teofimo.
Okay. Well, tell Chat GPT that.
Which is there another Lopez that we forgot that he forgot?
I'm sure it's another Lopez. Okay. You're saying that they're saying he beat Teofimo. Gotcha. He ain't fighting another Lopez.
Maybe Mario Lopez.
Mario Lopez. Somebody. Yeah, I don't know what Lopez they talking about. That's the only motherfucking Lopez.
Hey, everybody know Chat GPT lies sometimes.
Then no, we said it get it wrong.
And also, I would like to point out that under Clarissa Shields, they claim that she is 2-time undisputed. She is actually 3-time undisputed.
Ooh.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. So
She won undisputed at middleweight twice.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, 3-time undisputed. So we're gonna get to her in 1 second.
But all right, Lomachenko dominated 3 weight classes. It says.
Lomachenko has never dominated a weight class. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
The one with Rigondeaux.
Rigondeaux came up 2 divisions to fight him.
Oh, that's right. He did.
Oh man. All right. Cultural Impact showcased technical brilliance. Well,
what does that even mean? What does that mean?
Showcase. Come on. Y'all know that's the for the internet to get this. That is the vibe that the internet put on Lomachenko. So I can literally see them getting that, because if you take what HBO said, if you take what Showtime said, if you take what all these networks say, that's the synopsis you'll get from him. He's technically brilliant.
Wait. Hold up. Back. Hold on. So remember, it says quality of opposition, right? Beat elite Linares, Lopez, and Rigondeaux, right?
What's the Lopez name?
It says adaptability and resilience, adapted to setbacks.
Lopez lost. Hey, look, read the last one. Innovation and style. Read the last one.
Now, arguably the most technical boxer ever.
What you got to say to that, Matt?
Oh my God, this is crazy.
Did Matt leave?
Oh, hold on. He's back.
Matt, did you hear the last one?
No. What did I miss?
Read it again. Read it again, JR.
All right, so check it. It said, remember the quality of opposition. It said beat elite Linares, Lopez, and Rigondeaux, and then you go down to adaptability and resilience. It says adapted to setbacks. Lopez lost.
And read the last one. That's the most important one.
Innovation and style, arguably the most technical boxer ever. Oh my God.
So I asked, what do you have to say about that, Matt?
He's not more technical than Floyd, and he's not more technical than Usyk.
Yeah, definitely not more technical than either one of those guys. So he can't be the most technical boxer ever. But hey, Mike, that probably goes into what you were talking about in reference to, what HBO was doing or ESPN is doing as far as pushing Vasyl Lomachenko. And so you put that in the information thing there, and ChatGPT is going to pick that up and then kind of collect all of that data.
Yeah, it's in the media.
And then summarize it and say, he's the best technical boxer in the planet. I'm like, come on, man.
It did put arguably.
It did put arguably.
All right, let's go to Clarissa Shields.
All right, yeah. So we said the thing there with Clarissa Shields, right? With the 3-time undisputed, 5 weight classes, 2 Olympic golds, world amateur champion, fewer elite level opponents, still active, undefeated. 5 weight class.
Hold on. This is important. Mm-hmm. Stop right there. Why does it say few elite level opponents?
Fewer elite level opponents.
Why?
What do you mean? Why it say that, Matt? What do you mean? Why does it say that? Because she ain't got nobody that. You want to do? Is that a real question, Matt? Do you really want me to answer that question?
You know what? We'll get to it. Keep going, JR. I'm gonna have to educate this fool tonight. So keep going.
All right. So we have all of these criterias and everything like that, and it's been explained. You have the weighing criteria with all of that, so it puts that into consideration, so to speak, right? Professional titles, number of belts, and all that, and da 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 da. Now, with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different names that are on this particular list here. This is what ChatGPT stated as who they would have as the most decorated fighters. Okay, let's see. So ChatGPT's answer, okay, it says number 1, Manny Pacquiao, unparalleled adaptability across 8 weight classes, consistently facing and beating elite competition, and long, impactful career spanning generations, cultural significance as an inspiration to millions worldwide. So, Manny Pacquiao.
Right.
Number 2, Muhammad Ali. Okay.
And one thing I will say, when I went to ChatGPT and I asked it twice, it sometimes switched Muhammad Ali to 1. I asked it like 3 or 4 times, but it gave Manny Pacquiao more times than not.
Let me ask you a question. Who made this this spreadsheet? Who made this sheet?
I did, Matt.
Why'd you put number 1 first? Do you not know how to do a list?
I'm sorry, Matt, because I wasn't trying to put a lot of time into this, because this question, the absurdity of this question, I'm sorry, I'm going to give everybody an answer. The absurdity of the question is saying Clarissa Shields is the most decorated person ever is very absurd to me. So I wanted to ask ChatGPT, and I wanted to, give us a nice tabular format. So my apologies, Matt. I'm not as polished as you are in terms of media. I should have put number 3 and all that stuff first. My apologies.
Okay.
Let's get to this. You don't got to scroll so slow, because now I'm curious. Because
All right.
I already see that Mike is pissing me off. So we gonna get right into it. I'm literally rolling up my sleeves right now. We're gonna get into this.
All right. So
let's see what they say with number 3.
All right. So number 1 and number 2, and then number 3, Sugar Ray Robinson. So that's top 3. Okay. So all right. Go ahead and I'll just put up the the spreadsheet here.
And so I have a suggestion on how we do it. We compare Clarissa Shields to the next person over, or even to the weakest person. Let's do it like that. So Matt gonna say Vasily Lomachenko. Let's compare Clarissa Shields to Lomachenko. That's what you want to do, Matt? Oh, now you quiet.
Nope, he ain't gonna do that.
Just say what you want to say then, Matt. Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
Hold on, I gotta add him back on.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So Vasily Lomachenko, without a doubt, is the weakest one if you want to compare them. Okay.
Let's compare.
Now, career, they both won gold medals, right? They both won gold medals. 2 gold medals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Clarissa Shields won gold medals when first of all, before she was supposed to win them, and when she was supposed to win them. She did not stay in the Olympics as an older fighter beating up on high school kids. Okay. she actually won at 17 and 21. Okay. So her 2 gold medals, to me, is more impressive than his, because she was actually the young pup in there beating up on these Olympians who are a lot of them older than her. Okay.
She wasn't 26 years old when she won.
That is a great point, Matt. But I would like to add a point, and I'm gonna make a point with a different sport. In basketball, do not cancel me, world. But I'm just giving my honest opinion. In basketball, if you have a almost collegiate level woman, do you think the men in basketball would be able to beat them, or do you think the women in basketball would be able to beat in terms of skill the men in high school?
I think the man would beat the woman, but here's your problem. That's not the question. The question is decoration.
Yeah.
So,
And so
hold on. If we're doing decoration, regardless of gender, then you have to compare their greatness to whatever pool that they're in.
okay, let me push back on that. So I'm making that point to say quality of opposition.
Yeah, but you don't know shit about women's boxing. So you
That
don't
is
know shit
fair.
about her quality of opposition.
I've seen the quality of opposition in the pros, and if you
Yeah.
compare the quality of opposition for the women's boxing, in my humble opinion, it's not the same even of what Lomachenko fought in professional boxing.
But we have to talk about the quality of opposition, basically in terms of whatever era that they're fighting in, whatever pool they're fighting in. So here's the thing about Claressa Shields, right? Because I've actually done a story about her storied career. Okay, so Claressa Shields. Okay, this is what I wrote. Throughout her illustrious career, Shields has faced and defeated numerous top-tier opponents, including Savannah Marshall, Christina Hammer, who people thought was going to beat her, Hannah Gabriels, who became heavyweight champion, Emma Kozin, Tori Nelson, Nikki Allen, and Franchon Cruz Dezern. 8 of Shields' opponents, okay, so this is when we talk about quality of opposition, 8 of Shields' opponents went on to become world champions after losing to her, including two undisputed champions and the aforementioned heavyweight champion. Shields' opponents have a combined win-loss record of 201, 22, and 6, with a win percentage of 90.13%. So if I told you that after this fighter got beat by someone, they went on to become undisputed champion, what would you say? Oh, that win aged well. So 8 of Claressa Shields' wins aged very well because they became champion after losing to her, and they became undisputed champion, 2 of them. Now, here's the thing. When people talk about decoration, and let's talk amateurs, right? So Franchon Cruz Dezern, you might have more respect for her if she was a gold medalist. But guess what? She couldn't become a gold medalist because she couldn't get past Claressa Shields. Claressa Shields is the Michael Jordan of women's boxing. She stopped a lot of motherfuckers from getting championships who you would look at differently if Claressa Shields didn't exist.
All right, can I say what I want to say?
Absolutely.
So I do agree with you in that the champions that she has beat are exceptional women, and they are a class of their own. I would like to also point out, though, that the overall crop of fighters that these champions are fighting to become champions, when they fight each other, it is gold, it's magic to be seen. But the crop of fighters outside of those high-level fighters aren't that good. And you can see that.
But here's why that doesn't matter. Here's why that doesn't matter. Because they're all fighting each other.
It does matter. It does matter, Matt, because if you say one person was undisputed and the whole crop of people to get undisputed is like 12 people versus someone's undisputed and then he got to fight 100 people, it's 100 people in the pool, and then the level of competition.
Here's why you're wrong. Because it doesn't matter how deep the pool is, you don't fight all of them. People like to make the argument about how deep the division is, but you're not fighting everyone in the division. You're only like for example, Lomachenko, his 130 run, he didn't fight Miguel Berchelt. he didn't fight when he was younger Oscar Valdez, when he was down at 126 to 130. But they were in the pool. So do you give him fucking credit for guys that was in the pool that he never fought? Or do you say, well, he fought this guy who's who's a Eurasian who nobody knows how to pronounce his fucking name. He got a long ass name. Guys that you've never heard of. Go look at the actual names that he beat. The funny thing about Lomachenko, people argue that Gary Russell Jr. is a great win for him. Why do people argue that? Because Gary Russell Jr. went on to become a champion. And that has happened for Claressa Shields 8 fucking times where they went on to become a champion. So you're not making any sense.
Let me say this. Let me say this before you say something, JR. I understand what you're saying, man, and I do agree with the logic that you're using. However, in Alabama, I'm an Alabama boy. We have 7A football. It is much tougher to win a 7A football championship than it is for the same player in a 2A championship. I'm not saying women's boxing is 7A versus 2A, but I'm simply saying from top to bottom, the quality of opposition at the top is there, but it's not as deep when people are fighting. If you put this stallion in 7A, he gonna have a tougher time. If you have the running back in the SEC, he have a harder time of getting 200 yards a game versus you put him in ACC.
But here's let me ask you a question, right? Let me ask you a question. So with Claressa Shields and the people that she's beat, right? How do we know that the quality of opposition isn't good? We're only saying that because Shields dominates. Have you ever considered that maybe she is just so dominant that it looks like they're bad? The same way Terrence Crawford dominated 140, and then after him, all of a sudden, 140 is one of the best divisions in boxing, and they're all fighting each other. They're all beating each other. Maybe Claressa Shields is so head and shoulders above everyone else that it makes it look like the opposition is bad. But for some reason, when they start fighting each other, it's all close. It's very similar to Naiwa Inoue at 118 pounds, where he blitzed through it, but when those guys fight each other, they're banger matchups, 50-50 fights. Because one person is so great, they dominate everyone. Claressa Shields has never had a close fight, no matter who she fought.
Now, to Academic's point, in reference to, like, say, for example, the thing with competition, right? And he talks about the thing with 7A, 2A as far as like a high school football. But with Claressa Shields, and you brought up the point there, Matt, about her defeating fighters that eventually became world champions. I wish we had someone like Cliff Rhodes on here in this discussion, because he would be able to go more in depth as far as like the overall resumes of these fighters. But to Academic's point, some of the fighters that won world championships in one instance or a couple of instances won vacant world titles, and in two, like, how many times did they defend that world title? So that's the other thing to put into consideration with that.
So tell me that with Lomachenko. See, the funny thing about the Claressa Shields conversation, and this is why I always have to get on people, is that you guys seem to know Claressa Shields' quote unquote quality of opposition and which title she won, which one was vacant. But you guys never have dissected the other people. And I believe that the reason for that is because this argument is a disingenuous argument. This argument always comes from a place of, I don't like Claressa Shields, so let me parse her resume and pick at her resume. But you guys are not really educated on someone else's resume, because y'all don't have that mindset where you don't like them, so you want to pick at the resume because we can parse anyone's
Well,
resume.
well, you can parse
Matt.
anyone's resume, but you know who you're talking to when it comes to Bout Lomachenko. You think I don't pick his resume, especially his run at the featherweight division after
Let me ask
facing
you a
Gary
question.
Russell Jr.
Do you
Matt, ain't
think
nobody hating
hold
on this
no, no,
on this
no.
girl for you to
Okay,
say that.
so
This
all
this is
right,
not born out of hate, it's born out of objectivity.
So Mike, tell me Vasily Lomachenko's resume. Tell me about his quality of opposition that he beat.
We were saying the lowest person that we perceive on this list to compare them to Clarissa Shields. I'm not saying that her accomplishments aren't necessarily better than his because I can't speak on his. The only ones I can speak on is his high level fights. And a lot of those he didn't win.
He lost them all, actually. He lost them all.
Okay.
Let's pick his resume. Okay, so first fight, he beat Jose Luis Ramirez. Are you gonna bounce your grandkids off your knee, telling them stories about Jose Luis Ramirez? Do you know anything about Jose Luis Ramirez? No. The answer is no.
Hey, wait. Hey, Matt, maybe that was the Lopez and Chat GPT was referring to. I don't know.
Maybe. Second fight. He lost to Orlando Salido. Okay. Third fight, he beat Gary Russell Jr. for a vacant WBO title. Okay.
A vacant WBO title where he begged to get a second chance to win since he couldn't beat Orlando Salido for it. And he didn't really win that fight.
And the funny part is, in the Salido fight, that was also for a vacant belt. So how is he able to fight for a vacant belt back to back coming off a loss? So he defended the belt against someone named Chon Latarn Pino. Have you ever heard of them? I have never heard of them. Okay, he is from Thailand. He is a guy from Thailand. Okay, his next title defense, he defended his WBO belt against someone named Gamaliel Rodriguez. Have you heard of Gamaliel Rodriguez? Some random Puerto Rican? Absolutely not. Okay? Absolutely not. He's never won a world title. His next defense was against a guy named Romulo Kowasicha. You heard of him? No. This motherfucker don't even have a Wikipedia page. So let's review the pool.
Dang.
The pool at 130 was
at 126.
At 126. The pool at 136 was great, but he didn't fight nobody there.
Hey, I got a question, man.
Yes.
Why are we wasting so much time on Lomachenko?
And he shouldn't be on the list. That's why.
Okay, fair enough. Next person.
He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He's not a great fighter. He's never been a great fighter, and his reputation far outweighs the actual accomplishments in the ring.
Read us Clarissa Shields titles. Read us Clarissa Shields titles. Just to be fair.
Okay. I'll read you her titles. Hold on. Let me go back because I just go to my article. Okay. So let's read her titles. So,
Matt, and she didn't pay you for the article, right? I'm just making sure.
No,
okay. Okay. Good to know. Okay. Just making sure.
We don't get paid for writing articles over here like that.
Because I'm not a hater. I'm like so in awe of greatness. I decided to write about it. So
she is the truth, though. She is the truth.
So she beat Nikki Adler on August 4th, 2017, to become the WBC and IBF World Champion at super middleweight.
Pause.
Hold on, because I know what you're going to ask me. So let me pull it up because you're going to ask me if it was vacant, right?
That's one question that I'm going to also ask. Are we very familiar with the accomplishments of her?
Nikki Adler?
Yes.
Yes. Nikki Adler was the WBC super middleweight champion for 4 straight years, 2013 to 2017. And you know who ended her reign? Clarissa Shields.
And the
Uh,
opponents that she fought, what was the record of the opponents that she fought in them
Wait,
years
wait.
when she had the title?
So all right. So let's go back to Lomachenko. Let's go back and see the records of the
The
opponents
thing
that
is,
she
we ain't got to
fought.
talk about Lomachenko. We know Lomachenko being on this list is not deserved. Let's go to somebody else.
Okay.
yeah,
Let's. I'm still want to know about Clarissa Shields and the lady she beat.
or,
The
or
record of the people.
or like Lennox Lewis, or compare it to Alexander Usyk, or like not even the three that Chat GPT talked about. Let's see if she compares to some of the other ones that weren't necessarily listed as the top three.
Okay, Lennox Lewis.
Lennox
Okay,
Lewis,
now how about this? Okay, I was gonna say Usyk, but yeah, Lennox Lewis.
I've seen Lennox Lewis get knocked out by lesser opposition. I've never seen Clarissa Shields lose to lesser opposition. I've seen Clarissa Shields when someone doesn't belong in the ring with her, she dominates. She dominates, and apparently nobody belongs in the ring with her because she's dominated everybody.
And so, in terms of being decorated, just because you lose to a person, does that take away from the decorations?
Well, what
exactly.
happens with it? Hold on. What happens with it is when you are at the top level, you have to start splitting hairs. Once we start splitting hairs, everything counts. Everything matters.
So, if you lose, then you're saying if you lose, you are no longer in the decoration list. You can no longer be.
What I'm saying, if all things are equal, then I have to hold your losses against you. And the fact that they're all on this 9-panel list means all things are equal. So now we have to start splitting hairs. So let's start splitting hairs somewhere. We'll start there. Or we can start splitting hairs at the amateur record. Clarissa Shields, 2 Olympic gold medals. Okay? 2 Olympic gold medals.
And again, I think ChatGPT did a great job because maybe not 5%. It should be weighted at 5%, but it ain't weighted nowhere near 20%. Your Olympic pedigree does tell something about you because typically, on average, Olympians do beat non-Olympians. However, you winning an Olympic gold, Audley Harrison or whatever that UK guy was, one of them guys who won an Olympic medal who wasn't that great when he went to the pros, and you can name countless other more people. The amateur career outside of fighting like 200 times, because that tells something. That tells you that you hardened and chastened. But winning an Olympic gold is exceptional, but it ain't rated as high as your accomplishments, let's say like in the pros. So her winning 2 Olympic gold medals as compared to a Floyd Mayweather who only won bronze, that's more exceptional, yes, but her wins ain't gonna outshine his wins, and he's much above her in terms of his decorations, even with 2 Olympic gold medals.
I mean, if you say so. If you say so. But continue.
I say so too.
But we on Lennox Lewis. I'm sorry I skipped. So Lennox Lewis. I don't know, but I would argue that his Olympic gold medal, even though I didn't watch it, and everybody says he got a gift win,
Gift.
that he probably had a harder time in his Olympics than she did.
Is it possible? Is it possible that he had a harder time because he wasn't as good?
He wasn't as good relative to who he was fighting. That is the most important thing.
So yeah, let's yeah, but the thing is, I already dismissed Lennox Lewis though. So like that's why I say someone like a Usyk, Ali, like we got Ali, Pacquiao, and it says Sugar Ray Robinson, right? That was top 3 according to Chat GPT.
Okay, let's go to Usyk then. Let's go to Usyk.
Hold on. So Lennox Lewis, he beat Chris Odera in the first round of the Olympics from Kenya. He beat Chris Odera. Okay. Tell me about Chris Odera. You ever heard of him? No?
If we did the same thing with,
No?
Clarissa
No?
Shields, we wouldn't know the people who
We can
she
do it.
beat.
Well, we can do it. We will do it. If you want to do it, we can do it.
Okay.
In the quarterfinals, someone named Uli Kaden. Have you heard of Uli Kaden? An East German amateur boxer who was born in 1959. He was literally born in 1959. So boxing at the 1988 Olympics, that would put him at 29 years old. East German, never was.
Hey, my man almost had a chance. He almost had a shot.
Yeah. So in the next round, Lennox Lewis won by a walkover. Okay, so he didn't actually fight the guy. And then in the final round, he got a gift against Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe landed 33 of 94 punches, while Lennox Lewis only landed 14 of 67 punches. I just want to point that out. So
We can't control for corruption, but
you're giving him more credit for his Olympic gold medal.
I'll go out on a limb and say that Riddick Bowe, in comparison to anybody who Clarissa Shields fought, is probably not on the same level.
But Riddick Bowe really beat him. So that's the thing. Riddick Bowe really beat him. So you can't give someone credit for getting beat. He got beat and they robbed him.
I'm gonna go back and watch the fight, but what I will say is him getting the win officially means a lot more than probably anybody that Clarissa Shields beat in the two Olympics. Prove me wrong.
All right, I'll prove you wrong right now. I will prove you wrong right now. So, Clarissa Shields, in her first matchup in the Olympics, she faced Anna Laurel of Sweden, right? Whatever. She's a national champion, but in amateur boxing, she won 2 gold medals at the World Championships, a silver medal at the World Championships, and then another bronze medal at the World Championships.
All these people on these lists, how many?
Hold on. She's won 3 gold medals at the European Championships, 1 silver and 1 bronze. A decorated amateur.
That's quite impressive. But all the people on these lists, how many do you think won Golden Gloves and other tournaments as well? If we actually went down there.
Well, Golden Gloves is only a thing in the U.S. So unless they're American, none of them. So that doesn't really matter.
All right.
Is Golden Gloves a thing in other countries that I don't know about? In other countries, they have like European championships, national championships, and stuff like that. Yeah. So this other chick that she beat in the final, Nadiza Torlopova, she won gold medal at the World Championships.
What, Martina
Navratilova? At heavyweight, she won a gold medal. She tried to shrink down and beat up on smaller girls, but ran into Clarissa Shields and got her ass whooped. Okay.
Shout out to Clarissa.
Shout out to Clarissa. Now I want to talk about her run 2016. Let's go to 2016 because I love her run at 2016. I thought her run at 2016 was great. So she beat Yaroslava Yakashina. Ho-hum. She's really not anything to write home about. Okay, at all. So I'm not going to pretend she is. Okay, but in the second round, she beat the Kazakhstan fighter, Dariga Shakamova. Now, let me tell you about Dariga Shakamova. She won the world. She won. Obviously, we know she won the Olympic bronze medal. She won multiple gold medals in the Asian Championships, And if you know anything about these Eurasian boxing countries, they really focus on the amateurs. So Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all of
Yeah.
these places are career, and that's their prime. They don't care about fucking pros. They care about the amateurs.
She doesn't
About
even
the
have a
amateurs.
pro career.
Because they career they get paid. They're basically paid professionals in the Olympics in these Eurasian countries.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're telling me that Lennox Lewis, who beat guys who you would never ever hear of, they never made it pro, they're not decorated, and he arguably, and in my eyes, it's inarguable, he lost in the final and should have been a silver medalist. You're telling me that that is more impressive than Clarissa Shields' runs?
I'm telling you that women's boxing has not have the same depth as men's boxing, and they have not had the same opportunities to develop as men have had.
I
This
agree with
is
that. I
this
agree with that.
is I'm looking up when it started. Women were allowed to start boxing in 2012 in the Olympics, whereas men had representation in 1904. I just
They were around longer. That's great. Now, what does that? What does that mean for Lennox Lewis's run in the Olympics?
that he probably wasn't dominating a smaller, less mature pool of fighters. He probably fought grown men who were 30, like you said, and he still beat them.
Okay.
Yeah, you got like about what 10 minutes on this joint here. So we gotta see like who else we could compare Clarissa Shields to. But you know me, I think
Usyk,
Lewis is out.
Usyk,
Usyk. Okay. Usyk in the amateurs Olympic gold one time in comparison to 2 Olympic golds for Clarissa Shields. Pro titles, titles in 2 weight classes for Usyk.
and not just any title, undisputed titles.
Undisputed at cruiserweight, right? Okay. So they both been undisputed multiple times.
But
Quality,
who's undisputed matters more, though.
well, we got to go to quality of opposition on
Well,
it.
when you say matters more, you're gonna say Usyk because you like men's boxing more than women's boxing. But let's talk about the actual quality of opposition for these undisputed titles. Basically vis-a-vis their era and their division. So he beat Murat Gassiev to be the undisputed champion at cruiserweight, right? So tell me what Murat Gassiev did after he lost to Alexander Usyk.
You tell me, Matt.
The answer is nothing.
He got injured.
He got in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
How
you.
convenient.
Thank
How
you. Thank you.
convenient. So let me guess. He got injured. He got injured, then was never the same. Mind you, this guy.
He got robbed against Shadow.
After first of all, he definitely lost to Otto Wallen. I actually watched that fight live because I love heavyweight. He lost easily. So since the Usyk fight, this is Mira Garcia. Nuri Safiri, who I'm assuming is related to the other Safiri, I don't even know. Michael Wallish, Carlos Welch, Mike Belogun. Then he lost to Otto Waller, and then he fought someone named Ken Lundquist. Yeah, that's not going to put butts in the seat. So how do we know how good that win aged when he's done absolutely nothing of note since that fight, except lose to Otto Wallen?
I think one thing is for sure. Clarissa Shields' dominance is impeccable. But she competing in an environment where she got, it ain't that many dance partners. Everybody can't dance like her. She the only person on the floor, you know, busting a move while everybody moving in slow motion. It is
So
the
what you're
environment as
saying is that,
compared
what
to
you're saying,
men.
no, what you're saying is that she's head and shoulders above everybody. She's head and shoulders above everybody. That's what you're
Yes,
basically
she
saying.
is.
It doesn't, but that doesn't mean that her competition is not good. They're just not good enough to beat her. But they're
But
good
guess
enough.
what?
They're good enough to go on to win undisputed titles.
All of the men that's on this list had people who were good enough to beat them. So that's the difference. The quality of competition and even the
Yeah,
longevity.
you know why? You know why? Because maybe they're not as great as you think they are.
Oh wow! Oh my God!
So they not better than the GOAT, huh? They not better than the GOAT, huh?
Oh my goodness!
That's what you're saying, right, Matt? They not better than the GOAT, huh?
So
That's
this
what I'm
is
saying. Relative to her era, she is the most decorated boxer in the history of boxing.
No, she's not. That's ludicrous.
Luna. so so you saying she's more decorated than I say Robinson, Ali, and Floyd. I'm not putting Pacquiao up there. But you're saying that she's more decorated than those three fighters.
She ain't more decorated than Manny Pacquiao without him having much of a amateur career.
Here's the thing. So to say, and maybe this is where Mike gets upset. He thinks just because she's more decorated, that means I'm saying she's better. I'm not saying she's better than them. I'm not saying she's greater than them, but she is without a doubt more decorated than them.
The accolades, basically.
Yeah, she's more like it's a fact. Just a fact. She's more decorated than them. Now, if you ask me, does she rank higher than them all time? I would tell you no, because to me, women's boxing is a different sport. I don't even think you could compare men and women.
Oh,
If
really?
we're being honest, yeah, I don't think so. It's a different sport. It's a whole different sport. So for me, I don't think we should be comparing. But if they're just going to compare being decorated, she is without a doubt the most decorated boxer in the history of the sport of boxing.
So Manny Pacquiao with 8 titles, even if they are 3 pounds apart, 8 titles in 8 different weight divisions. She's more decorated than him.
Here's the thing: she has 5 titles in 5 different weight divisions, and she's actually unified. Manny Pacquiao's never unified. She's actually been undisputed 3 times. Manny Pacquiao's, like I said, never unified.
In a
And
division with 15 people. Matt, that don't count as high. You get some demerits on that, Matt.
you see where you're losing me at with the argument. We're talking about being decorated. You're talking about place in history and greatness.
No,
That's
no,
two
Matt.
different things.
I'm saying the decorations don't look as good if you colored it with a
So,
crayon versus the color pencil.
so the thing is with Manny Pacquiao, right? I guess in comparison to Clarissa Shields, and you put in these different criteria on it, right? With him being the as they say, 8 division world champion, it's who did he beat in order to win those world titles? That also counts in the whole resume department, or the thing there with quality of opposition. Like you compare those world title wins to the world title wins that Clarissa Shields has.
Okay.
Lead us to the answer, because I don't think we gonna tell us what you're saying.
Yeah, because
Well,
we got to
here's the
wrap this up in
answer.
a few.
Here's the answer. Clarissa Shields is the most decorated fighter in the history of boxing. That's the answer. And the funny thing is, people talk so much about her vacant titles, And I actually think that the vacant titles speaks more to her greatness, because you have to consider that a lot of these titles weren't vacant per se. A lot of these titles were inaugural titles, meaning they didn't even exist before her. But because she was so great at her craft, she basically became a trailblazer and made a pathway for the women that's going to come behind her to compete in these divisions and fulfill their dreams as a world champion. She is a fucking trailblazer. The great Claressa Shields, undefeated, the GOAT. February 2nd, she does it again at the Dort Financial Center in Flint, Michigan, live on the Zone. Go see Claressa Shields. And if you haven't already, The Fire Inside is in theaters. A great biopic about the life of Claressa Shields, okay, starring Ryan Destiny. What a great movie, and it's fitting that they made a biopic about the GOAT before she even hit the age of 30. And I gotta say, the biopic about her life is the best performing boxing biopic since Cinderella Man, all the way back in 2005. Better than Hands of Stone, better than Big George Foreman, better than the Manny Pacquiao movie. The Fire Inside, the best performing boxing biopic since 2005. That's 20 years, my brother.
I have one question.
Respect for the GOAT. Put some respect on her name.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I have one question.
Yeah.
She didn't pay you, right?
Yeah. This guy.
Hey, Matt, you still be my friend.
Hey, Manny Pacquiao movie, Matt, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know if there was a Manny Pacquiao movie.
There's a Manny Pacquiao movie?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Was it released in the U.S.?
Hey, listen. I honestly, I wouldn't know because I didn't watch it.
Oh man. So
I'm gonna make my ending argument too.
All right, go ahead.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Claressa Shields is indeed the GOAT. She's the most decorated woman of all time. When we start crossing lines, that's where we must stop the comparisons. We do agree on that, because there's not much of a comparison. Shields dominated all of the available competition, and like you said, she achieved unprecedented milestones in women's boxing. She was the first to do it for a lot of reasons. However, the lack of depth in women's boxing and the limited opponents to build that decorated resume, and even that smaller pool as compared to the men, it limits her ability to really have a claim to say she's the most decorated across the whole, the whole shabam. This does not discredit Shields, because again, she's the GOAT, she's the woman, but it does not compare to the men. She's not the most decorated person, man or woman.
Well, I don't think you should be comparing the men and women because it's two different sports. But to me, if you're just going based on being decorated, no one compares to Claressa Shields, the GOAT. We love you, Claressa. Fuck these men, Claressa. Fuck these men.
Now, actually, this kind of like had me thinking about something in reference to, like you said, most decorated, because there was I wouldn't necessarily say like a trailblazer in the sport, but she ended up is probably the greatest, at the very least, greatest women's player of all time in her field, but has multiple world titles, and her name is Serena Williams. Now, would you?
Yes. Oh, Queen. Queen, another black queen. Another
See?
black queen that gets hated on by these crackers and these other black men, these hotep black men love to hate on these beautiful black queens that accomplish a lot because they want them pregnant barefoot in the kitchen.
Matt, we had a good show. Matt, all the way up until the end.
Yeah. Well, I feel passionate about these men downplaying the accomplishments of my beautiful black queens that dominate their sports, dominate fields where it's usually men that become the big stars. They dominate those fields and they let people know ain't nobody fucking with them. Serena Williams before her, Clarissa Shields now, the two greatest women athletes of all time.
This man brought up the hoteps in the manosphere on the Midweek Report. Oh my God, yo, this is wild. This is wild.
Finish your thought, JR.
Now, my thing about it was it kind of like leans toward what Boxing Academic is saying, because the thing is with women's boxing it's existed to a certain point to where they could have had enough or the amount of competitors to make it to be more in depth as far as like the different divisions that they have, but it just hasn't reached that particular point. And to what Matt was talking about, as far as like Clarissa Shields being a trailblazer there in a sense, that actually kind of, it could hinder her to a certain extent because she was already placed in the position to fight for those world titles right off the rip in some cases. So she could have basically like built herself up to a point where instead of like, say, for example, right now she has 15 professional fights, right? Or maybe she could have had like, 23 or 25 or, something like that over the course of her professional career to this point. And maybe could have gotten to it where she fought more competition in that sense. So maybe that could have, added to her case. But within 16 professional fights, that to me just says that she was able to get to that particular those world titles and everything much easier than other people that she's in comparison to. So I think that is a hindrance there for her case as being the most decorated fighter there in the sport of boxing. So
and part of the reason is because of the depth. That's probably one of the reasons too why she got there so quick, because of lack of depth.
So that's my take on that. So with that being said, that is a conclusion of this version of the Midweek Report. Of course, we got like lots of actions coming up. I don't know how many people are going to be up early before Friday, early Friday morning to watch Naoya Inoue. Some people may think that like it might be Inoue KO1 anyway, but in the meantime, you still have Pro Box TV on Friday. You still have the fights on the zone on Saturday, headlined by Diego Pacheco versus Steven Nelson in the super middleweight division. So we're looking forward to that. And then after that, just a few days later, it's going to be fight week. Fight week for David Benavidez versus David Morrell Jr. I can't wait. So y'all look forward to all of that. Big thanks for Coach Bob Santos as a special guest here for the Midweek Report and our great columnist here, the Box Academic, and Matt from Brunch Boxing here on this. And thank everyone that was able to listen live. Be sure to share this. And we will be back at it with the Boxing Source podcast on Sunday. And until then, I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.